You might remember she's a host on the former host of MSNBC. She's a former congressional candidate. She's a writer and an activist. She's written this new book, which it's called "Reversing the Apocalypse: Hijacking the Democratic Party to Save the World." Everyone, please welcome our guest, Krystal Ball. Hi, Krystal. How are you?
Great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Now, first of all, I love the title of this book. Now, I'm sure you haven't seen our show yet, but this is all we talk about is trying to.
My book? That's all you talk about is my book?
This is all we.
I think I would have seen that, actually.
It is true. I don't mean to interrupt, but if it was like computer dating for a guest, this would be the ideal guest.
We've been covering this book since it came out. I mean, every 90 minutes a week, and that's how we do it at live shows. We have readings of the book. People come, and
we're doing it on ice.
We're doing it on ice next week. We're going to be doing Reversing the Apocalypse on ice with Disney.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Anyway, so thanks so much for being on. Now, tell me because I keep telling people that Donald Trump is not the problem, that Donald Trump is a symptom of the problem. And the problem is both political parties turn their back on the working class. Now, would you agree with that assessment?
I 1000% agree. And all you have to do is look around the world. I mean, we feel like it's so unique what's happening here with Donald Trump. But if you look in France, you look even in Germany, you look at Brexit, you see the rise of these populist leaders around the world because there is this massive economic transformation that in terms of our national politics, neither party has addressed. And from the Democratic side, we've for decades now, we've drifted away from the working class. And it really came to fruition and was sort of solidified under the Clinton years in the 90s. When rather than being the party of labor and being party of the working class, we decided to be the party of Wall Street and Silicon Valley and the professional managerial class. So it's no wonder that several decades later, the working class finally really truly abandoned the party and said, you know what, we're going to give this crazy person a try.
So this crazy person, you mean Donald Trump, not Hillary Clinton. Okay, so.
They did not want to give Hillary Clinton a try now.
So now let me just say, because you tried to ring the bell, the warning alarm before when you were host on MSNBC, and I just became aware of this video about a month ago. We played it actually at one of our live shows. It was a rant that you did or a commentary you did on MSNBC, and it was asking Hillary.
You can call it a rant.
Okay, it was a rant, and you were asking Hillary Clinton not to run. So let me just play it right now, and then I'll come back, and I would like to get your reactions to the fallout from it. So let's just play it.
I've come to a difficult realization. I don't want Hillary Clinton to run for president in 2016. I do not think that she is the right person for this moment. Back in 2008, when all my peers were jumping on the Obama bandwagon, I backed Hillary. The country was reeling from a disastrous 8 years of President George W. Bush. Does Hillary Clinton sound to you like the right person for this moment? In a time when corporations have hijacked our politics, enabling them to reap all the profit without feeling any compunction to do right by their workers. Is someone who sat on the rabidly anti-union board of Walmart for 6 years the right person to restore workers' rights? In a time when we're still reeling from a global financial disaster brought on by foolhardy bank deregulation, is someone who recently took $400,000 to give 2 speeches at Goldman Sachs the person we need to wrest control of the asylum back from the banking inmates? Someone who at those paid speeches reassured the masters of the universe in attendance were being unfairly persecuted, that in her words, the banker bashing was unproductive and foolish. Someone whose husband, by the way, did much of the deregulating that got us into trouble in the first place. In a time when we badly need to be inspired and rallied and made to believe that America can once again be true to the American dream, we need someone who is mission-driven, who's clearly passionate, living and breathing and feeling in their bones the plight of the worker, of the middle class. That person is not Hillary Clinton.
Okay, so that got passed around. I missed it the first time when you did that, and it got passed around. But then someone sent it to me, like I said, about a month ago. I loved it. You were really warning people that a Hillary Clinton candidacy wasn't going to turn out the way they thought it was. Now, what was the fallout from that? Because I know there wasn't anybody who was a host at MSNBC who was, put it this way, anti-Hillary, who is still there. So did you have a talking to after that?
Well, no one ever told me there was anything I couldn't say at MSNBC. But to be honest with you, after I did that piece, which did get a lot of play, which is kind of astonishing because in hindsight, it was so obvious. But at the time, she was inevitable, right? She had high popularity ratings still. She had the entire establishment behind her. It seemed like she was a sure thing, and the Republicans were in disarray. So this was seen as a fairly radical thing to say, given the Beltway conventional wisdom at the time. But I do think that based on what I was told at the organization, that MSNBC got a call from somebody in her camp who was very unhappy. And they did kind of ask me to tone it down or not do too much. And the only commentary that I ever had to get sort of vetted at a higher level than my show producers was the next one that I did on Hillary Clinton, where they were nervous that, how far is she going to go? And they didn't edit it. They didn't trim it back at all. But there was definitely more scrutiny and more nervousness around what I said about Hillary Clinton than anything else I did the whole time. And I said plenty of fairly out there things at times, but this was the one that definitely caused the most heartburn within the organization for whatever that's worth.
The funny thing is, people look at MSNBC as a mirror image of Fox, but it's not, right? Because Fox people, they're what he called true believers or what have you. Now, the people at MSNBC, they're just corporate people, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, MSNBC is a business. It is not a progressive organization.
No.
It happens that they, after trying a bunch of different things, they sort of stumbled upon Keith Olbermann. It really worked for them in terms of ratings.
Yes.
And so the whole model spun off based on that kind of stumble onto success with him. So no, the executives there, and remember also MSNBC is a tiny little piece of Comcast, which is a big, massive corporation, and MSNBC is just a small chunk of what they're doing. So look, it's the problem with progressive media in general, corporate progressive media. You're always going to be biting the hand that feeds you. It's always going to be an awkward fit unless you do have true believers there. So the moment that you can find a business rationale to tamp down some of the more uncomfortable, more liberal, more anti-corporate views, you're going to take that path, and it's going to be more comfortable for you at the Upper East Side cocktail parties and with your more corporate and Wall Street friends, frankly.
Hey, if you enjoyed this clip of Aggressive Progressive, why not become a member of the TYT network, and you can watch the whole hour. We do a show every Thursday, and then you can watch it live when it happens as a member, or you can watch it later at your convenience because you get access to the podcast of Aggressive Progressive and other ways to get a hold of it. There's lots of stuff. Come become a member at tytnetwork.com/join.